take a minute and explain the importance of why you want to have a full forensic audit.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I'd ask, is this bill any different than the one we saw last year?
No, the bill is the same bill you saw last
It's
year.
identical to Senate Bill 605 that she had last year.
So, Mr. Chairman, what I would like to mention is with a risk limiting audit,
Hold on a minute. To my colleagues, I haven't heard problem. I got brand new hearing aids in, so when you talk, with the traction, see, before I start whistling, I can't hear you, Scott. See, you want to cuss me out good. Man, I got my hearing aids in. Gotta be nice to me. You put it back in. Y'all kind of cut it off something. Hear what you gotta say. Bless your heart. Thank you so much.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm just going to be brief and summarize a couple things on this bill. Risk limiting audits are very different than full forensic audit. If you remember some of my comments last year, my concern was based on information that I'd seen since the 2020 election, and I had many constituents reaching out to my office for the first time in the 6 years I've been in office at that point, now 8. Voters were saying they went to cast their vote and they couldn't do it. Lots of voters, not just a couple, but many voters, and that's when I started looking into what happened in 2020. The risk limiting audit takes a sample, a poll. In Amelia County, which is one of the 3 counties that I represent, you have 14,000 voters. And in this risk limiting audit, they only chose 1 vote out of 14,000. Now, I'm a finance major, I get it, I understand how statistics works, but what you're not doing is you're not examining the equipment, you're not examining the machines that a lot of people have had issues with. There was a recent report in Prince William County in which, this past year, in which an audit was done, and they did an actual manual hand count and compared that to a tabulator, and it was 7% off. And so that's a concern. We have to make sure that our voters have confidence in our elections, and what the full forensic audit does is it includes ballots, it includes the inspection of poll books, voting machines, routers, and I think it's important that we look at the quality of the paper. There are many different things that we learned in looking at the Arizona audit that don't encompass that risk limiting audit. So I just wanted to make that distinguish why I've been so emphatic
Mr.
on why
Chair.
we need a full forensic audit.
Mr. Chair. Senator, last year when you had this bill, I asked you if any of those people who had not been able to vote had reported their situations to the local police or the Commonwealth Attorney, and you told me you didn't know. And we've had a year since. How many of those cases have been reported to the appropriate law enforcement authorities and prosecuted? Because if they were really denied their right to vote, the law was broken.
Senator Deeds, actually in Prince William County, this is new developing information. Michelle White, who was a registrar out of Prince William County, was indicted by the Office of the Attorney General. And in that particular situation, it was addressing the 2020 presidential election. She was actually indicted on a felony count and 2 misdemeanor charges.
For people who were denied the right to vote.
Yes. This is a legitimate concern, or I wouldn't be bringing it before you today. What I'm encouraging in this committee to do, what this bill does, is we want to ensure the accuracy and the legality of the elections in question. And as it pertains to reviewing all the materials, the equipment, the procedures in any part of the election, including the ballots. Can I just give you one more example and then I'm going to close?
Please do, because I want to got
Yes.
a lot of bills.
In Arizona, this is just an example because they have a full forensic audit, and they're the only state in the country that's actually had a full forensic audit. And I went there, and I was actually on the floor where they had the audit. You could find mail-in ballots that had no creases in them. Are you going to pick that up in a risk limiting audit? Absolutely not. You had mail-in ballots that had no creases in it, no folds, and you could look at the paper and tell that it had been duplicated and copied, and there are over 19,000 ballots that occurred to. So that's my concern with this bill. This is why I'm calling for a full forensic audit as opposed to the risk limiting audit.
Mr. Chairman,
Let me make sure she's finished, because I don't want to cut them out. What's that, something there? Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I'm looking for the fiscal impact. As I recall last year, I think it was $20 million. Is that the same this year, or is it different?
No, I have changed the amount, Mr. Chairman, Senator Bell, to $500,000.
per year or?
For each year, yes, 500,000 this year, 500,000 next year.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Chair, I have a follow-up if I could,
Just
please.
finish. Go next.
Mr. Chairman, first, I did the risk limiting audit bill last year. That was my bill.
Great.
And frankly, I don't think that you properly characterized that bill because the number of audits goes up when the election results are closer. And the other point you made was about the certification of voting equipment. Are you aware of the already existing requirement to certify voting equipment in the Commonwealth of Virginia, which is done every election cycle?
Mr. Chairman, Senator Bell, I am aware of the requirement, but I am not, beyond a reasonable doubt, concerned that's actually being done in each locality.
Senator Davis?
Senator, this calls for an audit of the 2020 election results, but not 2021 or 2022.
So we started experiencing the issues in 2020.
So
That's why.
we're still litigating that election.
Yes, we are.
Next speaker, please. The next speaker, please. All right. Anyone in the audience in support of the bill, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Ivan Rakelin. I'm a concerned citizen from Northern Virginia. I'm also a constitutional attorney, and I just retired last year as a Lieutenant Colonel in the Green Berets. I know at least one of you on this committee here is also a veteran. And the reason why I rise to support this bill is because I don't know of a single publicly traded company that is not audited. So as a shareholder, you would expect that your businesses run seamlessly and smoothly so that you can invest in it. Well, for us citizens and residents of Virginia, of the Commonwealth, as a shareholder, as well as shareholders alongside with you, I would plead with you to consider voting for this bill so that we have an increased confidence in our electoral system, so that not only during the general election, but also during the primary season, both parties, whether you're Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, or Independent, we have full faith and confidence in our electoral system, as shareholders should, in private sector or in public sector.
Thank you so much, sir. Next, please.
Thank you for your time. My name is Paul Teal. I spoke last year on this and presented a packet to you all. Since that time, we've done some serious investigation into the computers. They're not machines. We've got pictures of them all made in China. They're inaccurate. They're hackable, and in fact, we're hacked and run by algorithms. I'd like to just ask you one question. If you put 1,000 pieces of votes in that machine, would you not expect it to come out with 1,000, not 1,000.475 or some other? That proves that that's a computer and it's an algorithm running that vote. And we presented a pretty good case to Joshua Leaf with a true expert named Jake Barik. With all the evidence there is, he spoke in Arizona as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else in support?
Yes,
Let me get that. 1 minute, sir, please.
Yes, sir. My name is Darrell Bowe. I'm a Spotsylvania County resident. I'm a United States Marine, retired federal law enforcement officer for 21 years. After 2020 elections, I got involved. I spent 2 years now trying to understand what happened, what took place. And the deeper I dig, the more information I find. This is just one book, sir, that's got sworn testimony of a whistleblower testifying in the federal district court. He was a former pro-VMV employee. He tested your computer systems. He'll tell you that they're hackable, they are vulnerable, and they're easy to hack. And EAC, which certifies your election machines, EAC certifies them, they knew about these vulnerabilities and they certified them anyhow, sir. So, in the 2 years that I've been working with Virginia First Audit and others, I'm going to stick this up here in front of my face so you can see it. And I'd like for you to take a look at the diagrams. You've got Spotsylvania County, Stafford, you've got Fauquier County, and you've got Culpeper. If you notice, you have 2008, 2012, 2016, and 2020 elections. And in those elections, Mr. Chairman, you notice there's a pattern. Suddenly something changed after 2016. What took place, Mr. Chairman, is this. Your state has